and Dr. Kalpana and Asha Jain and MC Patel for giving me this an opportunity. And it's a very great task. Actually, you should learn from him about conducting this happy learning program for the 172 times. And my congratulations and best wishes for his presidentship in the future. And once again, I thank everybody who has participated in this program for their contribution to the medical field. Actually, this will be spoken very later on. It will be remembered by people who had participated, not only as faculties, but just as observers also, they can learn and remember this program is a great success in the South. Thank you once again for Dr. MC Patel and for Dr. Asha Jain, who was a coordinator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
For sparing time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce Dr. Asha Rao, ma'am. She is another person who's really well known. She's the director at Rao Hospital and Care, Coimbatore, director for postdoctoral fellowship program in reproductive medicine and endogynecology, and is affiliated to Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai. She has many affiliations. She is currently the chairperson Endometriosis Committee, FOXY, past president Coimbatore Obstetric Gynec Society, organizing chair of Endo Insight 2021, Yuva FOXY 2019.
I think it's enough, Asha.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome and over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. MC Patel, Asha Jain, and Rekha for having invited me here. It's such an honor to be here with all such eminent faculty. And Dr. Patel is always a friend, ever smiling, dynamic, simple living, high thinking, and he's so hardworking. And it's very impressive to know that it's the 172nd meeting today. So let's give a big hand to Dr. Patel. And he's in for this big election, which I'm sure he will be victorious. We wish him the very best for this election. And I'm also happy here to see many of my friends. To start with Dr. Jyoti, who is the speaker today for GDM. And many more friends, starting from Dr. Revati Janaki Raman, Dr. Amala, Minambal, Parvatavardhini, Murugalakshmi, and Manonmani, and the whole galaxy. All of us know each other. So it's lovely being here. I'm not going to stand between you and the subject, especially today's topics are very important. GDM and the MTP, which will be dealt by Dr. Patel. So we're all looking forward to a vibrant session and wish you the best once again, Dr. Asha Jain and Dr. MC Patel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Asha Madam, for kind words. And you are always with me in any of my academic activity. So thank you for sparing time. And as mentioned by
Thank you so
Devi Madam, as far as state of Tamil Nadu is concerned, so naturally it is close to my heart because I started this series. My first episode, I started with Tamil Nadu. And in every round, when I completed my first round, I started second round with Tamil Nadu, third round with Tamil Nadu, and fourth round is also Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu is always much closer to me. And thank you for all the blessings. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I only have one small announcement, sir. That
Yes.
is, we have come from Endometriosis Committee. We have recently convened the good GCPR, good clinical practice rules and regulations for endometriosis, which will be put on the FOXY net shortly. So I request my friends to look into the GCPR for endometriosis submitted by us in 23. Thank you.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Asha. Thanks for the good wishes. And now we commence the scientific session. I would like to call upon the three chairpersons, Dr. N. Sumati, Dr. Senturu Ramchandran, and Dr. Parvata Vartini. So I would introduce Dr. Sumati ma'am, who's the professor and HOD Department of Obstetrics and Gynae, Government Rajaji Hospital, Madurai. She's a very accomplished academician with multiple degrees and a lot of experience. She's also having a lot of awards. So she has the Best Doctor Award in 2019 from Health Minister of Tamil Nadu, Best Doctor Award from District Collector, Foxy Leadership Award, and she's currently the president of Madurai Menopause Society. I would also call upon Dr. Senturu Ramachandran. He has UG and PG teaching faculty in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynae at Madurai. Another very, very accomplished person. She's presented a paper in FIGO World Congress in Kuala Lumpur on acute inversion of uterus, still a tragedy, has organized many conferences and has many, many awards. She has the Doctor's Day Award from IMA, Star Alumnus Award, Platinum Fest, Madurai Medical College, Lifetime Achievement, IMA Madurai, and Tamil Elakya Peraval, and Vocational Excellence Award from Rotary Club. Then we have Dr. Parvata Vartini. She is a former professor of Gynae at Madurai Medical College, past secretary, Madurai Obstetric Gynec Society, organizing secretary, Yuva Foxy, executive member, Madurai Gynec Society, faculty in Foxy National Conferences, a very senior consultant in Akshaya Hospitals, and also a very accomplished academician. I would request the chairpersons to take over from here. One can introduce the subject, one can introduce the speaker, and the third chairperson will sum up. So over to you, chairpersons. Here is the CV of Dr. Jyoti.
I'm Sumati. I'm introducing Dr. Jyoti. She's a professor in our Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. And she's the past president of Madurai OB-GYN Society. And also she's the director of Mitra Hospital and UG and PG examiner, as well as DNB examiner, as well as a teacher. And she's a committee member of the MTP committee. And she has conducted many workshops, and she's organized also HRP conference that is at Kodaikanal. And she has received Best Doctor Award from collectors for 4 times she received. And her field of interest is high-risk obstetrics. She is much interested in high-risk obstetrics and handling the cases. And she has published so many papers and articles in high-risk obstetrics in index journals. And it is really indeed a great pleasure to have Dr. Jyoti on this Happy Learning series for a talk on GDM, that is overview. And I really thank Dr. Patel sir and Asha Jain for the opportunity.
Thank you.
A warm good evening.
No,
At the outset, I thank Dr. Patel sir and his team for inviting me as chairperson for this Happy Learning Masterclass 172 edition. The topic is GDM and overview. GDM is defined as impaired glucose tolerance with onset or first recognition during pregnancy. Worldwide, 1 in 10 pregnancies is associated with diabetes, 90% of which is GDM. In India, the incidence of, am I audible, madam?
Yes, you are audible.
In India, the incidence of GDM is 10 to 14.3%, and it is expected to increase to 20%. That is, 1 in every 5 pregnant women is likely to have GDM. Apart from increased incidence of maternal and perinatal morbidity associated with GDM, there is also increased risk for the women with GDM and their offspring to develop type 2 diabetes mellitus in later life. Now, I request Professor Dr. Jyoti to deliver her talk on GDM and overview. Over to Dr. Jyoti.
Madam, a warm good evening to all. First of all, I wish to thank Dr. MC Patel sir and Asha Jain madam for giving me this chance to see you all through this 172 second webinar of Happy Learning Masterclass by Dr. MC Patel. Sir, we assure you, the whole Tamil Nadu is with you, sir. We are with you. And my pronouns to my teachers, friends, and all the faculties from various societies, Coimbatore, Dindigul, Erode, Kanchipuram, Karur, and our own Madurai. Let me share this screen.
Jyoti ma'am, you're having a
Yeah.
problem. You want to
Yeah.
send it to me? You can WhatsApp the presentation to me if you wish. Just WhatsApp it, I will open it for you.
It's a problem. I don't know what. Only the whiteboard is sharing.
Ma'am, don't make
Yes.
it full screen. Don't make it full screen. Just
Okay.
open the presentation. Click on the presentation.
It is
Don't
not
make it full
coming.
screen.
It's not coming. I don't know why.
Ma'am, otherwise, send it to me. I'll share it.
The desktop is not at all coming.
Ma'am,
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Jyoti, you send it to Asha Jain or to Kalpana?
Yes, madam. I'll do. For that, I have to close it. Don't know what happened. Only the whiteboard is coming.
ma'am, press the escape button 5-6 times.
Yeah.
The escape button.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And
press it till you get a proper screen.
But the only whiteboard is coming, not my desk.
Ma'am, listen. You just
Yeah.
log out and log in again. Log out. Leave
Log
the
out.
computer, log out, and then log in again. Teeth,
Yes, ma'am.
could you call on ma'am and help her a bit?
Okay, no.
Just call her and help her out.
Is she unable to share the screen?
Yes, sir. She was having a whiteboard. She could not see her presentation.
So if she can send the presentation to anybody, either Asha or to Kalpana, and you can run.
I think her computer hanged.
Jyoti? Jyoti?
She is not there. You have to call her by phone. Mobile கூப்பிட்டாதான் முடியும்.
Janki ma'am, Revati ma'am, Revati ma'am is there.
Yeah.
Ma'am, while
Yeah.
she's logging in, if you would just share your experiences with us, so that everybody's not actually sitting idle. It's live on YouTube as well. So any of your experiences for anything.
The number. See, actually speaking, the level of HbA1c prior to pregnancy, we say that it has to be brought to less than 7 or so, isn't it? But when many a times we see women coming with pregnancy, HbA1c around 10 or so. So it's a tricky situation, and especially those are going to be a precious pregnancy, like long period of infertility or BOH or something like that. So managing such patients. Anybody has managed and how? HbA1c 10, previous 2 abortions, precious pregnancy. 60 days.
Can I
60
just
days
add?
amenorrhea. 60 days amenorrhea.
Madam, if HbA1c is 10, we have to explain to the patient, because we had one patient with HbA1c 11, madam, 11.5. So we have to tell the patient, see, the risk of having a baby which is anonymous is there. And she continued the pregnancy, nothing happened actually. So you must have a proper ultrasound. It must be done in a fetal medicine unit where nothing happens. We've had some 2-3 patients with the high HbA1 levels, and they went out with normal pregnancy. So just the cutoff. So we really can't give a cutoff. This is the HbA, but we will only have to tell them that this is the risk, because if
Exactly. That is the thing. We can't say that up to this HbA1c it is safe, or after this it will
and
be
then they have to
anomaly,
decide
not like
what
that.
is the level. Because we quite a lot of patients are like that, ma'am. Even diabetic patients, we see so many patients with over diabetes. They also have a very high HbA1c level, and the sugars are very, very erratic, especially GDM. Very difficult.
Exactly. And pre-pregnancy counseling again becomes very, very important to have the sugar level and the detection of diabetes and all.
Revati ma'am, I wanted to ask you one question. Ma'am, am I allowed?
Yes.
Dr. Asha speaking.
We can't see you, Asha. Yeah.
You have to. Okay. So actually, ma'am, what I was asking you was, how do you convince your women to undergo cervical cancer screening? I've been fighting that for 24 years. Convincing them to get screened when they have no problem is, it's a work of art. And if you're able to do it well, I really want to know what are the tricks.
Actually speaking, I have been doing a lot of free screening camps in villages, rural areas only. Okay? In those, there only we find it very difficult. So to bring them for a simple speculum examination, also they are not willing. Because they said, I have undergone menopause, I have absolutely no problem, no need for any this thing at all. Till the age of menopause, I didn't have any menstrual problem. That is how they go. But thing is that we have to spare some time. Even in that free medical camps in villages, I used to spare some time, sit with them and talk to them and tell them about these cases which we have seen, advanced cases of cervical cancer and other things. And this screening, after the simplicity of the screening procedure. and then they will accept it. And at least one patient I convince and then do, automatically all the rest will come. Okay, that is that. Many think that they think that main cancer phobia, that is one thing. That whether we may tell that it is a cancer or something like that. Second thing is that they are afraid of the procedure itself. They don't know what it is, first of all. So these two things we have to clear them. So we are not going to say that it is cancer. We are going to only find out whether it is any pre-cancerous lesion is there or not. Second thing is that this procedure is so simple, just like a clinical examination. So these two things only when we explain to them, they will accept for screening and they come. And definitely it was possible, though it's a bit difficult and they need some time to convince them.
Ma'am, actually, I've been doing it. So I even show videos of this is the examination, this is how we are going to do it. I explain all the basics.
Yes.
But there are a certain percentage of people who never get convinced. A lot of them will get convinced, but there will be a core group that will not get convinced.
Yes. Actually, on
That
February
happens
4th,
because whenever I do camps, yeah.
On February 4th in Dindikal, we conducted a mega camp for around 1,200 women and a single day screening procedure, including colposcope. Okay, Dr. Priya Ganesh Kumar came. But there, as you said, I have prepared a short video and then just a casual thing. That is a woman suffering from cancer cervix, refused to undergo screening, and ultimately she ended up with the stage 3 and she had a difficult life subsequently. And if only she had screening, this would have been avoided. And the procedure of screening also very simple things are available and how we are doing it. So this put together, I made a video of 3 minutes and I displayed it. It was going on throughout. So seeing that many came, even those women who underwent hysterectomy, all those things, they opted for some screening, they came volunteered themselves. That was also possible. Okay.
For a minute.
Thank you, ma'am. MC sir, Patel sir.
Yes,
Jyoti
yes.
is not able to join.
Sir, should we actually start the panel and we can do the lecture later? Is that okay?
We can.
We've already spent 20 minutes, so we can
If the
actually
panelists are
do
not
that.
there, we can start.
Bunny,
Panelists are there, ma'am.
had anybody
Okay,
talked to Dr. Jyoti, madam? Is she unable to join or what is the problem? Because
You
Teal
can ask the panelists
tried to
to-
contact her, but she didn't pick up phone.
Actually, she's sending the presentation to me, sir. I will share the presentation.
But she is not there.
So, Dr. Kalpana, should we actually start the...
Panel.
Have you received the presentation,
Start
Dr.
the
Kalpana?
panel.
Yeah.
You can start the panel.
If Kalpana has received the presentation and if Jyoti madam can join, then we can go with talk. Otherwise, we can switch over to panel and then after we will go for a lecture.
So, I think we should start the panel.
Okay, no issue.
Mail இருந்து
So, I welcome you all to this panel on the MTP Act. Expert in the line of fire is Dr. MC Patel, sir, and I will be moderating the session. So, Patel, sir, is one person. This is the 4th round in Tamil Nadu. He doesn't need an introduction. But as he's going for presidential election 2023, I would like everybody, 24, I would like everyone to be reminded of his achievements. He was the Vice President FOXI 2018. He's organized many conferences. He was the chairperson of Ethics and Medico-Legal Committee 2011 to 13. Honorary Secretary, SOGO, Organizing Chairperson, MMCON, Honorary Member, National Inspection and Monitoring Committee on the PCPNDT Act, Honorary Member of State Supervisory Board, PNDT Committee, Gujarat, President, Ahmedabad Obstetric Gynec Society previously, Honorary Member of National Managing Body, Indian Red Cross Society, National President, National Medicos Organization, President IMA Ahmedabad 2007-8, Honorary Surgeon, Indian Red Cross Eye Bank, Organizing Chairperson, Vivekanand NMOCon 2013, President Lions Club, Ghatlodya, Ahmedabad 97-98. More than this, He does a lot of NGO work, and in the Northeast, he's been visiting very regularly for his NGO work for many, many years. And that is a silent part of him which he doesn't tell anybody. So, welcome, MC Patel, sir. I hope we are able to bombard you enough.
Yes, welcome.
That's me. I've been introduced. Before everyone logs off, I would just like to say that I will be going for Chairperson, Food, Drug and Medico-Surgical Committee. Please, please remember me and support me. And we start at the outset with a short video from Sir.
शुभं करोतु कल्याणं आरोग्यं सुखसम्पदम्.
Respected seniors and dear colleagues, serving Foxy for years together on this auspicious day with folded hands and down head, I seek your guidance, blessings and support to endorse my candidature for the post of Foxy President year 2026, election year 2024. Consistently working for Foxy and trying to visit even a smaller societies and to assist our common Foxyan friends in any given situation, I have tried to serve Foxy. I assure to serve Foxy in the same way with the same zeal and enthusiasm. पथ का अंतिम लक्ष्य नहीं, सिंहासन चढ़ते जाना, लिए सभी को साथ, आगे है बढ़ते जाना.
So we start the panel. The topic is the MTP Act, and these are all my panelists, and I will be introducing each one of them as they come along. So welcome, respected panelists. I hope today we make MC Sir's life a little difficult. So before we actually start the session, sir, I would like to ask you, what is the need of the MTP Act, and when did this act come, for which indication? So this is the introduction to the whole panel.
So actually, long back before this 1971, when this MTP Act was enacted, services related to abortion were not considered legal. Even today, under Indian Penal Code 1860, termination of pregnancy is crime, even today also. But before that, this MTP Act 1971 came. So, and due to that, there were so many criminal abortions because people used to go to unauthorized person, unqualified person, and there were so many complications related to abortion services. So government came with some decision, and they formed Santilal Shah Committee, and that committee gave report in 1966 that abortion services should be made legal, and registered medical practitioner who performs termination of pregnancy in accordance with provision of act or provision of law, they should be out of purview of Indian Penal Code section 312 to 316 was the aim of this very MTP Act. So in 1971, this act came into existence, and in Santilal Shah Committee, 50% were doctor and 50% members were influenced by doctors. So MTP Act is doctor friendly, and it was basically enacted to protect registered medical practitioner from purview of IPC.
Now the first question will be coming from Dr. Manonmani ma'am. She is the president of Coimbatore Society, and her hobbies are reading and cooking. She loves cooking, So I asked her for a few photographs, but she didn't send them to me. So welcome, Dr. Manonmani.
Good evening, everyone. At the outset, I would like to thank MC Patel sir and Asha ma'am for giving me this opportunity and making me a part of this wonderful masterclass series. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. So my question to you, sir, is what were the important provisions of the Act, and was there any punishment included in the Act?
So before I go with the question, Asha mentioned that Manonmani madam is good cook. She is also good host. And in recent past, when I visited Coimbatore Society for their annual day celebration, she extended me very warm welcome and hospitality. Thank you, Manonmani madam, for the same. And
Thank you,
coming
sir.
to your question, so as far as provisions of Act are concerned, in MTP Act, they have very specifically mentioned as far as provisions, say for example, place where MTP can be done, person by whom MTP can be done, and if there is a breach in any provision of MTP Act, then there is a provision of punishment also. If person is not qualified, person is not registered medical practitioner, and if he does any MTP services, or even if person is qualified but place is not registered and termination of pregnancy happens, then in both the condition there is a provision of punishment, and it may, as far as imprisonment is concerned, it may extend from 2 years to 7 years, and with fine or with both. And as far as contravention of this record keeping is concerned, related to MTP services, there is a provision of fine of ₹1,000. So if there is indiscrepancy in record or inaccuracy in record or not properly maintained, then there is a provision of fine of ₹1,000. These are the provisions as far as punishment is concerned. Yes.
Then we have Dr. Muruga Lakshmi, sir, and she loves reading. She reads a lot of Tamil stories, and she is the secretary of Coimbatore Society. Over to you, Dr. Muruga Lakshmi.
Good evening, all ma'am. Thank you, Asha ma'am, for your kind act of introducing me. Thank you so much. Good evening, seniors and my teachers in this forum. So I would like to thank MC Patel sir, and I would like to, my question is, how effective was that initial act in preventing the unsafe abortions? Was it useful? Was it the same, or it is being amended? And why was it amended?
In 1971, when this MTP Act was enacted, for registration of place, all the applications were received by state government, and in that there was so long time taken by government to approve centers. So in 2003 there was amendment, and this power was delegated to district level committee. So now district level committee can also recognize any center as far as MTP services are concerned. So that is why that amendment came in 2003. And as far as effectiveness is concerned, so previously, as far as these MTP services are concerned, registered medical practitioners were not protected and they were punished and they were considered criminally liable. And that is why this act was came into existence. And in 2000, with district level committee, now it has become a little easier for center to be registered as far as MTP services are concerned.
Thank you, sir. I request everyone who is not speaking, please mute yourselves. Please mute yourselves. Yes, sir.
Next.
Okay. So we have Dr. Selvarani Jayaraman. She is the secretary of Dindigul Society. She loves listening to music and also painting. So over to you, Dr. Selva. You didn't send me your paintings.
Yes, I'm sorry, very sorry, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Happy to be part of this same webinar, sir. And, my question is, what is the latest amendment and how does it benefit the women and the doctors, sir?
So there are so many amendment came recently in 2020 and 21, then rules were amended, and now it is called MTP Amended Rule 2021. So in that, one very good amendment came, that is failure of contraception. This indication previously was available to married woman and to her spouse or her husband. But now word married woman is replaced by any woman, and her husband or spouse word is replaced by any person. So now even in case of unmarried girl or in case of divorcee or any other lady, now this indication of failure of contraception is available. One more amendment came to extend the limit of termination of pregnancy from 20 to 24 weeks. So previously, with opinion of 2 registered medical practitioners, pregnancy were allowed to be terminated up to 20 weeks. Now, for certain indication, from 20 to 24 weeks, with opinion of 2 registered medical practitioners, now termination is allowed. And even before, beyond 24 weeks of pregnancy, with opinion of medical board, pregnancy can be terminated. But in this condition, medical board is conferred with power to opine in case of congenital fetal anomaly, which are incompatible with life of fetus. Then only medical board can opine. So at any given gestational age, medical board can opine to terminate pregnancy even more than 24 weeks of pregnancy. And one more good amendment came in this regard, that whenever any medical board receives application for opinion, then medical board is under obligation to opine within 3 days. So within 3 days, medical board has to opine whether pregnancy can be terminated, or they may deny also, but they will have to justify why they have allowed termination and why they have denied termination. Previously, what happened? Whenever pregnancy is more than 20 weeks, usually patient approaches to Honorable High Court with writ petition for permission. And Honorable High Court refers cases to medical board to opine. And there was no time limit. In one of the cases, it was happened that opinion was asked at the gestational age of 24 weeks. And when opinion came, pregnancy was 36 weeks. And it was published in newspaper in Hindu. So, to avoid this type of problem, in this amendment, it has come with amendment that opinion should be given within 3 days. And once there is opinion on part of medical board that pregnancy can be terminated, then that very pregnancy should be terminated within 5 days. So these 2 good amendments came in favor of patient. One more amendment as far as confidentiality is concerned. Of course, previously it was also there, but in breach of confidentiality, previously there was fine of ₹1,000 only. But with this amendment, if there is a breach in confidentiality, then there is a provision of imprisonment of 1 year or fine or both. So these are some latest amendments which are we have to taken into consider in our abortion services practice. Yes, next.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we have Dr. Usha E.S. She's the past president of Erode Society. I don't think she's here. Usha ma'am, are you there?
She was there a few times. Just a minute ago, she was there.
Usha ma'am, are you there?
Anybody from Erode then? If Usha madam is not there, then anybody from Erode can join and can take this question, no issue.
Sir, I'm Dr. Dharni.
Yes.
I'm from Eon Society, sir.
Yes, madam. Welcome.
Actually, it is a proud moment for me to be a part of this webinar, sir. So thanks a lot to you and Asha Jain ma'am. And a special thanks to my teacher, Dr. T.V. Chitra ma'am, because who I am now. Thank you, ma'am. Sir,
Thank you, Dharani.
Sir, the question is, what are the violations of the Act commonly seen in the court? Are medical abortions are covered under the Act?
So commonly, in this type of violation of Act is concerned and proceeding in the court is concerned, either place is not registered, person is not qualified, consent is not taken. Consent is to be taken in Form C. This is prescribed form under this MTP Act. So if consent is not taken in Form C, opinion is not formed. Opinion from one registered medical practitioner up to 20 weeks and two registered medical practitioner up to 24 weeks and opinion from medical board. So if opinion is not formed, so these are some violations of Act and proceedings are seen in court of law. As far as medical abortions are concerned, it is a method. So as far as termination of pregnancy is concerned, either it could be medical method or it could be surgical method. So it is a medical abortion is a method of termination of pregnancy. So all the purview of MTP Act will be applied in case of termination of pregnancy by medical method also. Yes, next.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And this is my question, sir. What are the forms to be filed and the provisions of the personal privacy of the lady under the Act?
So as far as forms are concerned, there are so many forms related to MTP Act, starting from Form A. Form A, at the time of applying for registration of center, we have to apply in prescribed form, that is Form A, with requisites, documents, and to appropriate authority. And if registration is granted, then certificate of registration is given, that is Form B. And that Form B we have to display at conspicuous place of our hospital. So that is Form B. One more form is Form C, and that is consent. It is prescribed form, and we have to take consent in Form C only. Of course, we have to take consent in other form also, as far as informed consent is concerned, but consent taken in other form cannot replace consent to be taken in Form C. So to take consent in Form C is very much required. One more form is Form 1, and that is opinion. Opinion up to 20 weeks of pregnancy, one registered medical practitioner will have to form opinion, and it is to be formed in Form 1. Form 2. Form 2 is monthly reporting. When at the end of month we report to appropriate authority about our data of medical termination of pregnancy services given to that very month, we have to give that report in prescribed form, that is Form 2. Form 3. Form 3 is, we can call it admission register, we can call it MTP register, but in under this MTP Act, it is called Form 3. And in Form 3, all the details of patient is given. Name, age, address, parity, by which method we are going to terminate pregnancy or terminated pregnancy, which method of contraception is adopted by patient after termination of pregnancy, who formed opinion, who terminated pregnancy. So all the columns are given in Form 3, and it is very prescribed form. So all the details we have to formed in Form this Form 3. One more form is Form D. Form D is opinion from medical board. Whenever we refer any patient for opinion to medical board will opine in prescribed form, Form D. And one more form is Form E. When pregnancy is more than 20 weeks, less than 24 weeks, and with opinion of two registered medical practitioners, if we are going to terminate pregnancy, then two registered medical practitioners will form opinion in prescribed form, that is Form E. So these are some forms as far as MTP Act is concerned. And as far as personal privacy is concerned, I mentioned prior also, breach of confidentiality, now it has become little serious one with this amendment. Previously there was punishment only a fine of Rs 1,000, but now if it is proved that personal identity of patient was really revealed, then there is a provision of imprisonment of 1 year or fine or both. So we should be very careful not to disclose any personal identity of any patient who has undergone termination of pregnancy. Yes, next.
Thank you, Dr. Tharani. She spoke without me officially introducing her, and she told me that her passion is cooking, even more than surgery. So, we plan to come and taste what you cook someday.
You're always welcome, ma'am.
So
now we have, yes. So we have Dr. Umayal, who's the secretary of Kanchipuram Society, and she's a singer. She sings a lot. So over to you, Dr. Umayal.
Is she there, Umayal?
Anybody else from Kanchipuram is there? Is there anyone from Kanchipuram?
Then anybody can take, no issue.
Chitra ma'am, you are muted.
Good. Who can be shown the documents of the lady, and who is the authority on whose orders papers are to be shown?
Yes.
That is one. Then MTP form is submitted online to district authority. Then what about privacy?
Chitra ma'am, please ask one by one.
One by one.
Okay.
So let us see first question. So who can be shown document of lady, and who is the authority on whom orders papers are to be shown? So just I mentioned about form 3, that is MTP register. All the details of patient is filled in that very form, and number is given to a patient in that register. So once number is given, all the correspondence then after, we have to go with that number only. But there are two exceptions when this register can be opened and all the details can be read. So one, if a patient is working woman, and if she asks for certificate to grant leave, then naturally we will have to open that register and we can give her a certificate. And one is under authority of...
So one small question. Suppose she asks leave, can we write she took leave because of medical termination of pregnancy? Is it okay?
Yes. But
then where is the privacy?
Yes, I am coming to that also. But at the same time, when you issue this type of certificate that she had undergone termination of pregnancy and she is advised rest for 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, then at the same time, one covering letter should be written to her employer that this is confidential matter of the patient and it is to be kept confidential. Second thing, whatever we are handing over to the patient. And whenever we are handing over to the patient, there is not a breach of confidentiality. If patient is handing over that very information to anybody, then that is up to patient. So it is not breach of confidentiality on our part, because we are handing over all the reports to the patient only. So this is one thing. One more part is under authority of law. Person who is authorized by law to inspect that very register, then that register can be opened. So, say for example, Chief District Medical Officer, if he is appropriate authority related to MTP services, then he can visit your hospital and he can inspect that very register. If there is a litigation for any reason, and if there is an investigating officer from police station, he can come to you and he can also inspect that very register. But in this very case, you can ask copy of that complaint or FIR laws, because many a time any unknown person will come and introduce him that I am investigating officer for that very case, please give me this information. So we are not supposed to give this type of information merely in this type of request. We have to ask for copy of FIR, or they should write to us in writing that due to this FIR, we are searching this case or we are investigating this case and we are in need of some information related to that very patient. please provide information. And in writing, if we receive this type of request, then we can give information to that very investigating officer.
So the next question is, MTP form is submitted online. We do everything online to the district authority. Then where is the privacy?
So
because online, anybody, there are so many people having access to the
in
online.
all state, MTP forms are not submitted online, because as far as our state of Gujarat is concerned, in
We
Gujarat,
don't submit.
today we send with physical.
We haven't registered, sir, and then we have to go give it to the JD office.
But whenever, if there is a circular on part of government that monthly reporting is to be done online, then we are submitting to that very officer who is authorized under law. If he discloses any personal identity, then that is up to him. So whenever we are submitting all the record online to that very officer who is authorized, appropriate authority, then it is not breach of confidentiality, because it is under authority of law.
So sometimes all these over the counter, it's possible to buy these MTP drugs. But initially it was very, very difficult. Unless the doctor gives a prescription, they were not issuing. But sometimes some more patients get these drugs. Then how can we know how many patients are having this MTP? Where is this reporting? How do we report to the patient? They just go there and then they buy the drugs. How can we act? So definitely there might be lots of cases which are going unrecognized.
If at all we have considered any patient to terminate pregnancy by medical method, and if we are prescribing medicine, so you can go with number given to the register, not with name, number given to. If pharmacy is happy to honor the prescription, it's fine. But many a time, pharmacy may not entertain that prescription, and they insist name of patient to be written in our prescription. Then of course we can write, because we are handing over this prescription to the patient. And if patient is willing to take that medicine from that very pharmacy, that patient is free to go. We are not disclosing the personal identity directly to pharmacy. We are giving prescription to the patient only. So still we are not breaching any confidentiality.
So even if we do it in our clinics, is it supposed that we fill up all the forms?
Pardon?
Suppose we have a private clinic and then we're doing an MTP, we're asking the patient for a medical termination of pregnancy, we write these medications.
Yes.
Should we fill up all the forms again? All the forms?
Medical method is one of the method of termination of pregnancy. So all the formalities related to MTP Act, we have to go.
Because small clinics, I do not know how many of them have these forms. To be very honest, they might be writing these drugs.
All these forms which we discussed prior also, they are available on net. If you type MTP Act 1971, all these forms are available in net also. So we can download those forms and we should utilize. Because if we have not filled up the forms, and if there is something goes wrong, and if at all there is litigation, it will be very difficult for us to get rid of the problem. Because in one of the cases which happened in city of Ahmedabad only, termination of pregnancy was done in 2003. Form C was filled up as far as consent of patient is concerned. Opinion was formed in Form 1. In 2004, there was quarrel in the family. So she complained against in-laws that it was forceful abortion against her will without her consent. So doctor was called by the Honorable High Court to give evidence. But for any reason, doctor couldn't produce record of that is Form C, Form 1. And you won't believe, High Court ordered to arrest doctor from court only. Because if he cannot provide a document of Form C, Form 1, then it becomes a criminal offense for him, because he has terminated pregnancy not in accordance with MTP Act, and he was behind the bar for 3 days. After 3 days, there was compromise in the family, case was withdrawn, and then after only doctor was free from the bar. So it is a very serious matter. Whenever you terminate any pregnancy, and if you do not want to come into purview of IPC section 312 to 316, then you are under obligation. You are supposed to terminate pregnancy in accordance with provision of MTP Act. And that is why all these forms, which are very, very must, we have to fill it, we have to preserve it, and monthly reporting should also be done. And very naturally, our center should be registered and we should be qualified.
So what is the role of gynec when a person comes with retained products?
So a retained product is complication. So it doesn't come in purview of MTP. So as you treat any complication of pregnancy, you have to treat that very patient. No need to go for filling up Form C, Form 1 or whatsoever. We have not to fill. Yes, next.
Next.
Asha? Dr. Asha?
Yes, sir.
Asha,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, yes, sir. So the next question goes to Dr. Josephine Rosie, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am.
You can see
Welcome.
she loves dancing, and she said this is some kind of
Pickleball.
pickleball. I don't know
Yeah.
what pickleball is, ma'am. So
It's
I
a
would like you
miniature
to
of
tell
tennis.
me about.
It's a miniature
Okay.
short in a small court. We play like tennis, ma'am. It's a tennis.
Good, good.
Okay. So she's a
Hi,
player,
sir.
and you can see her in action. And she's from Chennai. So over to you, ma'am.
Thanks for this opportunity, sir. So in case a baby is having lethal anomaly or deformity detected in anomaly scan, can we do MTP, sir?
So it depends upon the gestational age. What is the gestational age? If it is less than 20 weeks, we can terminate pregnancy with opinion of one registered medical practitioner. If it is more than 20 and less than 24 weeks, with opinion of two registered medical practitioner, we can terminate pregnancy. If it is more than 24 weeks, then we have to submit this patient for opinion before a medical board. And if medical board is of opinion that pregnancy can be terminated, then we can terminate pregnancy in lethal deformity. Because this provision of congenital anomaly, which are incompatible with life of fetus, is the indication for termination of pregnancy. So at any given gestational age, pregnancy can be terminated. But if it is more than 24, then opinion from medical board is required.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question, sir. If there is a detected non-lethal anomaly at 27 weeks, if we incidentally detect, and can MTP be done? If so, under which provision? What is the legal procedure involved?
So if it is more than 27 weeks, and if congenital anomaly is non-lethal, then in this situation, one will have to proceed to Honorable High Court with writ petition seeking permission from Honorable High Court. We cannot terminate.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So the next question, sir, it goes to Dr. Devi Lakshmi, and you can see her love for gardening.
Good.
So Dr. Devi Lakshmi, ma'am, is the secretary of Karur Obstetric Gynec Society. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to thank Dr. Patel, sir, and Asha, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this reverse panel. Sir, my question is, if she is a major lady that is above 18 years, is partner consent required? And is a separate informed consent along with Form C required, or is the Form C alone enough?
No. So first question, if patient is major, if patient is mentally sound, then only and only patient can give consent for termination of her pregnancy. And no consent of partner is required. It is very clear. If she is minor, then consent of guardian is required. But if she is minor, then again it will be case of POCSO. So we'll have to inform police, and all other provisions of POCSO will have to taken into consideration. As far as separate informed consent is concerned, so as far as this Form C is concerned, Form C is prescribed form for consent. But in that very form, it is simply written that I give my consent to terminate my pregnancy. So it is not informed consent. It is mere consent to terminate pregnancy. So we will have to go with two consent, one informed consent and one consent or in Form C. And as far as informed consent related to termination of pregnancy is concerned, whether it is by medical method or whether it is by surgical method, it is available on Foxy website. You have to simply visit Foxy website under heading of Uniform Foxy Uniform Consent. We three medical legal experts, Dr. Dilip Palke from Pune, Dr. Nikhil Datar from Mumbai, and myself, Dr. MC Patel from Ahmedabad. We have prepared almost 30 different consent. And in those 30 consent, one consent is for termination of pregnancy is there. By medical method, there is available, and with surgical method, it is also available on Foxy website. So you can download those consent and you can utilize in your day-to-day practice as far as termination of pregnancy services are concerned. So you will go with two consent, informed consent and consent in Form C.
Thank you, sir. So now, I'm going to show you something everybody should gear up. It's Dr. Padma, who's the Secretary of Madurai Society. Exquisite drawing and painting. Did I miss it? Okay, so it will be after Dr. Mahalakshmi. She's from Kodaikanal and she loves traveling. You can see her image here. And over to you. Over to you, ma'am. Dr. Mahalakshmi, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. Good evening, Patel, sir.
Good evening,
Yes,
ma'am.
welcome.
I would like to thank you both for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the reverse panel. Sir, my question, sir. Any interesting case with learning on us on the mistakes we need to avoid?
So one case I just mentioned about this consent and Form C, Form 1, that doctor couldn't produce in court of law and he was arrested. One more case which happened in city of Mumbai only. So in the same situation, he was unable to give all these documents related to termination of pregnancy. But in one case it happened, she was minor, she was minor. But when she introduced to a gynecologist, she said that she is major. She gave her age to be 20 years or so. Pregnancy was terminated. And then after police came, she was minor. Why you didn't inform police? One more case which happened in state of Gujarat only. Patient was major, but patient was unmarried. And she came with her boyfriend for termination of pregnancy. Center was registered. Gynecologist was qualified. So she went with termination of pregnancy with all requisites. She takes signature in Form C, form opinion in Form 1, and pregnancy was terminated. After 6 months, police came that lady has lodged complaint against that boy of rape. Why? Because he had given us a promise of marriage, and that is why she had given consent for intercourse. So now he has declined from his promise for marriage. So false promise was given. So it becomes a case of rape. And if it was case of rape, why you didn't inform police? That was the allegation on part of police to that very doctor. So in this type of situation, we should be very careful. If patient is unmarried, even if she is major, then also we should be very careful, and in her own handwriting, we should take like this. It is a result of consensual sex. I have no complaint against anybody. I do not want to inform police. Because that very point of time, she is very clear. She has no complaint against anybody, including her boyfriend who has accompanied her for termination of pregnancy. After that, if at all something goes wrong, and if she lodges complaint, doctor is not at all at fault. But this should be our precaution whenever we are terminating pregnancy in case of unmarried but major patient. If she is minor, always inform police, and then you can terminate pregnancy, and product of conception is to be preserved in normal saline, and it is to be handed over to investigating officer. So these are some situations we should be very careful not to end up into a litigation as far as MTP Act is concerned. Yes, next.
Okay, sir, that's the okay, sir. That's the difference what we have to do between major and minor girls. So
Yes.
my next question is, what's your final minimum recommendation to avoid litigation in MTP, sir?
So I have mentioned prior also, center should be registered, person should be qualified, and we have to observe all these formality. Say, for example, consent to be taken in Form C, opinion is to be formed in Form 1 or Form E, whatever the gestational age is concerned, or in opinion from medical board in Form D. So all the requisites which are very much required under MTP Act, we have to observe, then we will be out of problem.
This is what I was talking about.
Yes.
Dr. Padma loves drawing and painting, and have a look.
Very good.
So I'm going to preserve this with me, Dr. Padma, and over to you for your question.
So, but before Padma goes to question, Padma is alumni of Municipal Medical College, NHL Municipal Medical College, Ahmedabad. And she is also good host. When she was treasurer of Madurai, and when I visited Madurai for one workshop, she extended me warm welcome and good hospitality. So thank you, Padma, for the same. I would like to visit again under your secretaryship, Madurai.
Sure, sir. Good evening.
Yes,
And
welcome.
you're so kind to remember and then recall
Yes,
all your
yes,
experience.
Yes.
Thank you. And
So
Asha,
welcome, Padma. Welcome means I am floored. It's so beautiful.
thank you. Thank you, Asha. Thank you for those nice, kind comments. Thank you. You just asked me, and then I had this too in my mobile, and I just forwarded it.
Yes.
And so coming to today's question, you just had just mentioned that if the baby is having any lethal anomaly and the medical board agrees, then we can go ahead with the termination even beyond 24 weeks. But then once the baby comes and then baby is alive, then whom should the custody of the baby be given?
So with this amendment, when termination of pregnancy is allowed beyond 24 weeks, these are the situation. Many a time, baby may come live, about live. So at the time of taking consent, we should be very clear that it is all likely that baby fetus may come alive, and we will have to give custody. So in this situation, naturally custody should be given to the patient or relative. But they are not interested in almost all the cases in this type of situation, and particularly when patient is unmarried. So many a time they abscond from the hospital. So should we shift this type of patient in NICU? If it is in government hospital, fine, we can shift it to NICU. But in private hospital, if at all we shift it to NICU, then who will bear the expense? Who will pay the bill of NICU? There are so many questions. So in this type of situation, we can inform police that custody is not taken by patient and this is the situation. But even if it is termination of pregnancy, we cannot abandon fetus to die. So this is also very tricky situation in this type of situation. And one last question, can prior feticide be considered? As far as this part is concerned, still MTP Act and amendment is silent. So whether it is to be considered legally or not, it is a question. And so many times in my lecture also, I address all these questions which Dr. Padma has asked, that now it comes a role of FOXI, IMA and Federation to approach government to clarify this type of situation. If baby comes alive and custody is not taken by relative, then what to do? And if it is to be shifted in NICU, then what is about the expense? And can prior feticide be considered? So we should be very clear as per guideline from government circular or amendment in MTP. But still, these are some gray area. And here comes role of FOXI. So in a lighter way, many a times I appeal, please vote for me. And if I am president in future of FOXI, I am going to take all those questions to be in consideration, approach to the government to clarify. Thank you.
I fully agree, sir. You work with such real passion, and I know you will definitely take it up.
Thank you.
Way.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Padma. Thank you.
Thank you,
And,
Asha.
now we have Dr. S. Lalita ma'am, who's a very senior consultant at Madurai, and she loves listening to devotional music. So over to you, ma'am. Lalita ma'am.
Yes, sir. A
Yes, ma'am.
26-year-old Samida 3 Para 2 Live 2 having 22 weeks of pregnancy for MTP with reason given for failure of contraception. Will you or can you do an MTP or not, sir?
No, because here pregnancy is 22 weeks. An indication of failure of contraception is available up to 20 weeks of pregnancy only. So under this indication, pregnancy cannot be terminated.
Oh. Is it, sir?
Yes.
Only up to 20 weeks.
Yes, up to 20 weeks of pregnancy only, indication of failure of contraception is available.
The patient comes very late, sir, with an IUCD at about 24 weeks or so.
So you can.
Nearly 23 weeks or 24 weeks, sir.
So if it is more than 20 weeks and less than 24 weeks, there are some indications given in amendment. So if patient falls in those indications, then you can terminate pregnancy up to 24 weeks of pregnancy. But if there is no indication given in MTP Act amendment, there are 7 indications, then you cannot. And if it is more than 24 weeks, then if it is congenital fetal anomaly incompatible with life of fetus, you will have to refer patient to medical board to opine. But if pregnancy is very normal, then beyond 24 weeks of pregnancy, even medical board cannot opine. And you cannot terminate pregnancy without permission of Honorable Court. So in this type of situation, one will have to prefer writ petition before Honorable High Court seeking permission of termination of pregnancy.
So the another question
sir.
is,
Yes.
So the 24 weeks and 1 day, sir, with the lethal anomaly, 24 plus 1 day. Can we proceed with, or have you to get a medical board?
24, 1 day or any days or any weeks rather. Medical board has power to opine in case of congenital fetal anomaly incompatible with life of fetus. Medical board can opine to terminate pregnancy, and with opinion of medical board you can terminate more than 24 weeks, any given gestational age, not 24 weeks and 1 day, any given gestational age. Medical board has power to opine. But in congenital fetal anomaly, lethal, incompatible with life of fetus only.
Lethal anomaly.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
welcome.
you.
So next we have Dr. Ambigai Meena, who is from Madurai, past president. Her hobbies are reading, traveling, and gardening. So you can see a sample of her garden, and you can also see the travel that she's enjoying. So over to you, Dr. Ambigai.
Good evening, Dr. MC Patel, Dr. Kalpana, Dr. Asha Jain, and all the chairpersons and the chief guest and all the panelists. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. MC Patel for giving me a chance to be part of this wonderful panel. And I know Dr. MCP since 2010. All these 13 years, he haven't changed, not even a bit. Same humbleness, same hardworking and very sincere person. Now he is conducting, I was part of the first Happy Learning episode. Now he is conducting the 172 Happy Learning episode webinar. Really, it shows his perseverance and commitment to give knowledge to everyone. I hope by these 2.5 years, he might have reached each and every gynecologist in India. And he has traveled to the northeast part and served for the people of the northeast part also. And I wish with his faith in God, his hard work and sincerity and humbleness, definitely he will win the election in 2024 and he will be our future president.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
Okay.
So before you go to question, Dr. Meena, I
Yes.
remember when I visited Madurai very first time in 2010 or 11, you
Yeah.
were secretary. You were
Yeah, I was the
secretary of Madurai
secretary.
Ubijan Society, and you are also good host. I do remember your warm welcome and hospitality. And at that time, Dr. Ajit Rawal was with me, and he was teacher of Dr. Padma. Actually, Smriti Ben was her teacher, PG teacher, but Ajit Bhai and Smriti Ben in the same unit, Padma was doing her PG.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my question is, can I go to my question?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. My question is, say 19 years old unmarried girl, he was brought to the hospital in a state of shock by an A&M who was practicing in a periphery we won't say it is a clinic in her house, and she has done a criminal abortion for 3 months pregnancy, and the patient was accompanied by the A&M and the parents, and the patient is in a state of shock. Her BP is 80, 60, and pulse be pale and tachycardia, and also the momentum was protruding through the vagina. In this condition, first of all, definitely we are going to resuscitate the patient, no doubt, but proceeding to the management of the patient, because definitely she need a surgical intervention, whether we have to file an FIR, inform the police, and wait to do the surgery till the police come, or we can proceed with the surgery after informing the police.
Naturally, we will have to treat patient first, because in one of the case which happened, which were decided in Supreme Court, Parmanand Katara. So in that very case, Supreme Court has come up with very good guideline that first you treat the patient, all the formality, legal formality afterwards. So in this type of situation, when patient is brought in shock, momentum hanging through vagina, naturally we have to resuscitate patient, we have to manage patient surgically, and then if patient is willing to lodge complaint against that very A&M who had done this criminal abortion, one thing, or relative who was accompanying this patient, if they are willing to go for complaint against that A&M, then they will complain. We can inform police. We are informer. We are not complainant. Complaint could be on part of patient and patient party. We cannot be complainant on part of patient.
Okay.
So we will treat the patient, we will manage the situation, and we will ask them whether they are interested to inform police, and police will be informed.
So if in this same patient, if she is not accompanied her parents, someone is bringing her, what to do?
So
in this same patient, if the parents are not accompanying, someone, not a relative is bringing to the hospital.
So in Act, word guardian is used. So what is the meaning of word guardian? Guardian means person who guards the patient.
Yeah.
He or she could be anybody. He or she could be father, mother, or relative, or say for example, if school girl is brought, school teacher is her guardian. So any person, say for example, any person from CWC, that is child welfare.
They are not willing. So they are not willing to sign the consent, what to do?
So if patient is minor, then only this type of problem comes, and then we have to inform police. If patient is major, then patient can herself gives consent for treatment. And if it is an acute emergency, no consent is required. You can proceed as far as treatment part is concerned. But because whatever you do in good faith of patient to save life of patient is always pardoned in eye of law. But in this burden of proof is on your shoulder to prove that it was acute emergency, it was immediate necessary to save life of patient to deal with the situation, and patient was major, patient was not in a position to give consent. So you can very well proceed with the procedure, but with all your proper documentation, you should be in a position to prove it that it was dire emergency.
Okay.
Thank you,
Can
sir.
I ask more questions?
Ma'am, we'll take the balance questions at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So, because we have 3 more panelists to go, and Dr. Jyoti has sent me her presentation. So, we have Chitra ma'am, Chitra ma'am, a very senior consultant, professor and unit head, PSG IMSR. Chitra ma'am, you're there? She's not there, I think.
I think she left. Dr. Asha, I think she left. She had put a
So
message.
anybody can take.
Anybody can take the question.
Can I?
Dr. Meena, you want to continue?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this question, okay.
Oh, yes.
22 years
Go
old
ahead.
unmarried girl comes to the doctor with a boyfriend, and she is asking to have termination of 3.5 months pregnancy. What to be done?
So if your center is registered and you are qualified person, you can very well terminate pregnancy. But all the requisites of MTP Act, that is consent to be taken in Form C, and it is a pregnancy of 3 months and 3 and 1.5 rather. So Form 1 is to be filled up for opinion. You can very well terminate. And just I mentioned prior also, she is unmarried. She is 22 years. Of course, she is major, but unmarried. So we should take in her own handwriting that it is a result of consensual sex. I have no complaints against anybody. I do not inform to police. So if at all something goes wrong with both of them, and if there is quarrel or there is any FIR or so, we should be safe. So we can terminate pregnancy of major unmarried patient, no issue.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Now we have Dr. Chandrakala Maran. She is HOD Gynae at KGPG Medical Institute, Coimbatore. Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, yes,
Her
ma'am.
hobbies are book reading, fiction, and she loves reading history, Indian history. So over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to be a part, and especially to Dr. MC Patel sir also for allowing me to be a part of this program. And my question would be like, we've got a 29-year-old patient who has conceived with assisted reproductive technology, and then she's got a triplet. She's been advised fetal reduction. Should the center be registered for MTP? Does it come under the purview of MTP Act, and which are the forms to be filled?
So 29 years old patient conceived with ART and she is having triplet and advised fetal reduction. So as far as fetal reduction is concerned, it is not termination of pregnancy because pregnancy still continues. If you reduce from triplet to twins or triplet to singleton and pregnancy is continued, so it is not termination of pregnancy. So it doesn't come in purview of MTP Act. So no need to go with any form, Form C, Form 1, nothing. But as far as informed consent is concerned, we have to go with informed consent. And one more thing, as far as this center registration is concerned, in this case, even if center is not registered, then also you can reduce pregnancy. I mean, fetal reduction. So this is not termination of pregnancy. It doesn't come in purview of MTP Act.
What are the
Sir,
forms to be
regarding the
filled, sir?
Yes.
Sir, one more question, sir. Regarding the previous previous question, suppose an unmarried girl comes for an MTP, have we not to inform the parents, sir?
No, no.
The parents.
If patient is major, if patient is mentally sound, patient can give consent for termination of pregnancy. And when patient is major, no need to inform parents.
But after some time, what they complained against us, maybe we might have done a MTP without consent, something like that.
Legally, we cannot be challenged because legally we are safe even if we do not inform her parents, if she is major.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Yes, can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, welcome.
Asha?
Welcome, Bharti.
Namaste, sir, and
Namaste,
thank you for
namaste.
the opportunity. And it is a privilege.
So I was muted. I was muted.
Asha, you are muted.
So, sir.
Yes.
This is Dr. Bharti. She loves traveling and gardening and acting and playing. And I have some photos later. She's also the president-elect of Kasoga. So over.
Thank you, Dr. Asha, and thank you, Dr. Patel sir, for having me on this panel. And it's been an extremely happy moment for me today because I have been born and educated in Tamil Nadu, an alumni of the Coimbatore Medical College, and now I am a daughter-in-law settled in Karnataka. And I had the privilege of having Dr. MC Patel in my humble home, and very pranams to you, sir.
You are also good host.
Yes.
Bharti is also good host.
Thank you, sir. Asha, you're always welcome.
Yes.
And so the center is registered. And a medical practitioner is qualified, and a lady comes with 6 weeks pregnancy. She wants an MTP, but she has come alone. So will you do a medical method of MTP if she asks for it?
So as far as medical method is concerned, not to worry much. If she is major, if she is mentally sound, she can give consent and we can prescribe medicine. No issue.
If she wants a surgical abortion, so
in surgical abortion, we should be very careful because we have to go for some anesthesia and we have to go for surgical termination. If at all some complications happens, because in one of the case it was happened, she came alone and surgical termination of pregnancy was considered and perforation occurred. There was profuse bleeding, blood transfusion was required, and exploratory laparotomy was also required, and doctor informed family members that this has happened. Family members came, case was well managed, but then family members quarrel with that doctor. Why you didn't inform us prior, before termination of pregnancy, when she had come alone and you are going for surgical termination. So in this situation, at least some responsible person should be outside operation theatre.
Thank you, sir.
So, sir, these are Dr. Bharti's pets and her garden.
Very good.
Thank you, Dr. Asha, for giving me the opportunity.
So, any other question by any panelist?
Sir, I have a question.
It's a free for all for 5 minutes. Sir, it's only 5 minutes because we have the lecture remaining.
Oh, yes. Bharti has to say something.
May I ask Dr. Asha?
Only one, Meena.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Dr. Bharti has to say something.
Okay. A 24-year-old girl. She came with persistent vomiting, went to a physician and finally came to a gynecologist. On ultrasound examination, she is 8 weeks pregnant, but she doesn't give history of amenorrhea. And further inquiry is telling she went to a party and under the influence of alcohol, she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what happened to her. Now, can we, whether it has to be informed to the police or we can proceed with the medical termination of pregnancy?
What is the age of patient?
She is 22.
So she is major. If she is mentally sound, she is major, she can give consent for termination of pregnancy if at all she wants to terminate. We can terminate if center is registered, we are qualified. But if she wants to lodge complaint, for that incidence against anybody, then we have to inform police, but complainant will be that very patient only. We are only informer. That this type of patient admin to us, patient is having 6 weeks pregnancy, patient had gone to this party and this was happened, and she doesn't know what happened. So that way we can inform police, police will take over the charge. But in this situation, product of conception is to be preserved in normal saline and it is to be handed over to the police for DNA analysis. Because if at all there is a complaint in this situation, then investigating officer will be interested to know who was the culprit and to prove in court of law in future proceeding, then DNA testing will be required. So we are under obligation to preserve product of conception in saline, and it is to be handed over to the police.
Okay, if she doesn't want to lodge a complaint, just we can proceed with MTP.
Can
we get a written statement from her?
In her own handwriting, we should take in writing that it was result of consensual sex. I have no complaint against anybody. I do not want to inform police. Then it's fine if she is major. She is mentally sound.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have one case, sir, just a very, very
Yes,
interesting case. Sir.
yes.
This patient came with her husband for MTP some 10 years ago. And
Yes.
MTP was done. Okay, she just said that husband and wife, that's all.
Hmm.
And after 10 years, the wife is coming and asking me the case sheet of MTP because she was just a keep, not a real wife. Okay. So after the husband died, she wants to claim that she is his wife only, for which she needs the record of our case sheet. What am I to do?
So in this type of situation, if patient is major, patient can ask medical record of treatment given to her. So we can give. But as far as
In that case, the patient, wife of so and so.
The personal identity part is concerned, if whatever patient has given information to us at the time of admission, Mrs. So-and-so, wife of Mr. So-and-so, and naturally we would have written that way. So in this certificate, we will write from record of hospital. From the record of hospital, this case paper is provided to the patient. But we will take in writing. Patient will request us in writing that I was treated in this hospital on this date for this complaint, and I need all the records of treatment given to me. We can give record if patient is major, no issue.
Okay, if we have a doubt, can we ask for Aadhaar to confirm their identity?
Yes, naturally, we should. Whenever we are in a little doubt that patient doesn't seems to be major, we can ask any ID proof, Aadhaar card, election card, school leaving certificate, driving license, any ID proof you can ask. And not only that, whenever you attach Xerox copy of that ID proof with case paper of patient, that copy should be attested by patient herself.
Okay.
It is very important thing because many a time it happened in state of Tamil Nadu only. So in Erode only. So
good point.
Yes, patient has produced with fake Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card was fake, and it shown her to be major. SSC was minor, and then after there was a very big problem with our two gynecologists from Erode only. So we should be very careful. Even if we attach any document, then it is to be attested by patient. Document, which documents? If we have asked for patient's document, then patient will have to attest this. If patient is minor, then it is to be attested by her guardian.
I request all panelists to just open their camera, please. Just with the panelists, all, I want to take a picture. Yeah. All panelists, please open your camera. All. Parvada, Selvarani. Yeah. Some more. I think all have come, no? Asha.
Me also.
Asha Rav is not there. Okay.
She has left.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Revati madam.
So
Thank you. Jyoti, you can proceed.
Thank you, Revati.
So it was very
I'll share in the group. Okay, I'm sharing.
Yes, it was very interesting panel,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed. But my position was just like MD examination, is this much examiner and one poor student.
But we are very free, just asking the questions.
So I think now my question: am I passed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are passed.
Sir, you got distinction.
Thank you, madam.
Distinction,
So
sir.
not only in this panel, even otherwise, whenever we have doubt, we contact you freely and we get it clarified.
Yes,
So
always,
we're happy
always
about
there.
it.
We are always there to assist.
Sir,
Thank
you
you.
got distinction and gold medal.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
So I've actually skimmed over the election slides of sir and mine. So I request
Asha,
hands please
Dr.
support
Bharti.
sir and
Asha,
me
Dr. Bharti also, please.
and Dr. Bharti for perinatalology committee, me for food, drug and medical surgical committee, and sir as the boss as President Foxy election year next year. So with this we proceed and Dr. Jyoti?
Yes, ma'am. I am here.
Yeah. So may I go to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will please
first,
start.
my sincere apologies.
That's all right, ma'am.
Yeah. Diabetes is a group of metabolic diseases. It involves carbohydrate, lipid, and protein metabolism, characterized by persistent hyperglycemia, which results from defects in insulin secretion or its action or both. In the 2nd century AD itself, Aretius of Cappadocia provided the first accurate description of diabetes mellitus, coining the term diabetes. But later, in 1921 only, Frederick Banting and Charles Best, they isolated insulin from the pancreatic islets. Thereby, they saved thousands of lives of diabetic patients. And thus, they inaugurate the era of diabetic management. Coming to the definition of gestational diabetes mellitus, as Dr. Chandru ma'am told, according to ACOG 2019A, it is the carbohydrate intolerance of variable severity with its onset or first recognition during pregnancy. So, it is diagnosed only during pregnancy. Coming to the incidence, as she told, it is a common medical problem occurring during pregnancy, and the incidence is around 7%. In this 7%, 86% is gestational diabetes mellitus and only 14% is over diabetes or hyperglycemia in pregnancy. The recurrence rate is around 48% because the incidence of obesity and the infertility patients are coming up. So the recurrence rate is more. Coming to the classification, hyperglycemia in pregnancy, the one is diabetes mellitus in pregnancy, that is the newer terminology, DIP or over diabetes. Nowadays, the term over diabetes is going on. And the next one is GDM. It may be in early GDM or in the pre-gestation diabetes, which is detected early in the pregnancy, or standard GDM, which is diagnosed in the 2nd or 3rd trimester. There are so many screening programs were told by IADPSG, WHO, FIGO, 1 step, 2 steps, and the cutoff values. They're all different. But in India, we are following DIPSI guidelines. That is universal 1 step 75 grams OGTT, and the blood should be drawn after 2 hours. Next one, ma'am. So in the diabetes in pregnancy study group of India, according to this one, the 1-step approach, and it has been proposed by DIPSI and it is endorsed by Government of India. On 14th March 2007, Government of India issued the instructions that universal screening of glucose intolerance during pregnancy should be mandatory and it should be done for all pregnant mothers in 1st trimester, 2nd trimester, 3rd trimester, and if possible, after 36 weeks once. So how to do it? The pregnant woman should be given 75 grams of oral glucose with 300 ml of water, irrespective of whether she is fasting or taken a meal, irrespective of the time of her last meal, and ingestion should be completed within 5 to 10 minutes. And you have to take the blood sample after 2 hours. And suppose if she vomits within the 30 minutes of intake of this sugar solution, the test should be repeated the next day. If the value is more than or equal to 140 milligram per deciliter, it is a diagnostic of gestational diabetes mellitus. So, performing this procedure in a non-fasting state is rational. After a meal, a normal glucose tolerant woman would be able to maintain euglycemia despite this glucose challenge. Whereas a woman with GDM, her glycemic level increases with the meal, and with the glucose challenge, the glycemic excursion exaggerates further. So, this single step procedure has been approved by Ministry of India and it also recommended nowadays by WHO also. Next one, ma'am. So, how to interpret the DIPSI test? So, we're given 75 grams of oral glucose and we are taking a blood sample after 2 hours. Suppose if the value is more than 2 milligram per deciliter, It is a diagnostic of diabetes, probably a pre-gestational diabetes. If the value is between 140 to 199, of course, it is gestational diabetes. 120 to 139, it is gestational glucose intolerance. And less than 120, it is a normal one. What are the advantages of this DIPSI test? Pregnant women need not come to the lab with the fasting, and it causes less disturbance in a pregnant woman's routine activities. She can come for the checkup and she can finish this DIPSI test. And it serves as both a screening as well as a diagnostic procedure. Simple, feasible, convenient, economical, and acceptable in this Indian scenario. What are the effects of gestational diabetes mellitus on the mother and baby? Coming to the maternal effects, there are some short-term effects and there are few long-term effects. Short-term effects, of course, it increases the incidence of developing preeclampsia, and there is increased incidence of any infection, and more common is urinary tract infection and vulvovaginal candidiasis. And there is increased rates of induction of labor, thereby more chance for instrumental and operative delivery, more chance for prolonged labor, and so there's a postpartum hemorrhage and sepsis, and postpartum infection is also there. And there is a difficulty in initiating and maintaining the breastfeeds in these women. The long-term effects are recurrence of GDM in the subsequent pregnancies, and there is increased risk of developing type 2 DM later. And the incidence of hypertension, ischemic heart disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and dyslipidemia and chronic liver disease are more common in these women. Coming to the fetal effects, the short-term effects are unexplained stillbirths or similar to pregestational diabetes. There is maternal hyperglycemia, so transplacental glucose transfer, fetal hyperglycemia. So there is more chance for neonatal hypoglycemia and hyperbilirubinemia, and it also causes sudden IUD. So more chances for neonatal death, preterm death, and more chances for shoulder dystocia, bone fracture, and brachial plexus injury. And this fetal hyperglycemia, it antagonizes the cortisol, and there is a blunted production of surfactant. So the incidence of RDS is more in these GDM mothers. The long-term effects are metabolic syndrome, hyperinsulinemia, childhood obesity, excessive abdominal adiposity in these babies, and higher blood pressure levels, and possible earlier onset cardiovascular disease, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and possible autism spectrum disorder. So these things should be followed up later. So benefits of treating GDMS, that by treating GDM, the incidence of preeclampsia comes from 18 to 12%. And there is a reduced frequency of large for dead fetus, macrosomia, and less chance for shoulder dystocia. And there is a decreased rates of perinatal death, neonatal hypoglycemia, and elevated umbilical C-peptide level and birth trauma. So GDM should be treated once it is diagnosed. So coming to the management, according to the American Diabetic Association, the glycemic goal is fasting. It should be less than 95 milligram per deciliter. 1 hour postprandial less than 140, and 2 hours it should be less than 120. So once we diagnose GDM, medical nutritional therapy should be given for 2 weeks. Suppose if the glycemic goal is not achieved, then pharmacotherapy with the insulin should be initiated. The medical nutrition therapy. The GDM treatment begins with non-pharmacological approaches of dietary modifications, exercises, and glucose monitoring. A recent meta-analysis of it shows the lifestyle modification trials in female with the GDM demonstrated a reduction in large for gestational age neonates, thereby reducing the incidence of shoulder dystocia and the birth trauma to the babies. So, the first line of management of GDM is medical nutrition therapy. It is to achieve the aim is to Next slide, ma'am. The total, to achieve the normal blood glucose levels, to prevent ketosis, and to provide adequate weight gain to the GDM mothers, and it should contribute to appropriate growth and development of fetus. Next. So, a personalized nutrition plan by a dietitian based on individual's BMI should be given. So, she should be advised to take complex carbohydrates like brown rice, lentils, cereals, and sweet potato, because these complex carbohydrates are digested very slowly, and so there is less incidence of postprandial hyperglycemia, and they reduce the insulin resistance. Carbohydrates of low glycemic index also can be given, but complex carbohydrates are the preferred one rather than carbohydrates with low glycemic index. And unsaturated fats are advised to take, like olive oil, sunflower oil, and nuts like cashew and almonds can be taken. And regarding exercise, mild to moderate exercise for 30 minutes improves insulin sensitivity. Simple exercises like walking for 10 to 15 minutes after each meal, it will reduce postprandial glucose levels. So self-monitoring is very, very needed when patients on MNT, that is medical nutrition therapy. Postprandial glucose surveillance is better than preprandial. ACOG recommends at least 4 times glucose assessment daily. According to the glucose levels, dietary modification with or without pharmacotherapy is instituted. Coming to pharmacotherapy of GDM, the insulin. So once the medical nutrition therapy fails, and with the medical nutrition therapy, we could not achieve the glycemic, and the adequate glycemic control, then we go for pharmacotherapy with the insulin. Insulin, it does not cross the placenta, so it is used as the standard therapy when glycemic control not achieved by MNT. Patient should be warned against the symptoms of hypoglycemia. Starting doses, of course, 0.7 to 1 unit per kilogram per day in divided doses. A combination of short-acting regular insulin with intermediate acting NPH can be given to these patients. Next. So the total insulin requirement is calculated, and 2/3 is given in the morning and 1/3 is given at the night. In the morning dose, again divided into 2/3 NPH and 1/3 short-acting insulin. There is another approach, basal bolus approach. Here, half of the insulin requirement dosage is given at bedtime. That is long-acting, and the other half, that is rapid-acting insulin at each meal in 3 divided doses. So, these doses are adjusted according to the glycemic profile of the patient. So, this tabular column shows the onset of action and peak of action, duration of action of various insulin preparations. Next slide. And here I want to say one word about artificial pancreas. This is a subcutaneous glucose monitoring device coupled with a continuous insulin infusion pump. So this one can avoid hypo or hyperglycemia in pregnancy, thereby acting as an artificial pancreas. This one is very, very helpful in IDDM patients. So for self-monitoring, nowadays we are using this glycemic profile chart. We have to check the sugar values 7 times. So according to the values, the insulin dosage may be adjusted. Next slide. Coming to oral hypoglycemic agents. Nowadays, metformin is used left and right. Historically, metformin is primarily has been used in the patients with pre-gestational diabetes or those with PCOD and infertility. In female with PCOD, metformin is often continued until the end of the first trimester. So, metformin and glyburide, these are the 2 oral hypoglycemic agents, and both of them, they cross the placenta. The fetal serum levels equals a maternal serum level in metformin, and there is less incidence on neonatal hypoglycemia, and of course, it causes lower birth weight and less incidence of macrosomia, less maternal weight gain. but the long-term metabolic influence on the offspring is unknown. This is the only problem we face with the metformin. Regarding glyburide, it is not used nowadays. With the glyburide, the birth weight increases and the chances for macrosomia is also more. The serum concentration in the fetus is also more than the maternal serum level. So coming to the orthotic management in these GDM mothers, screening for eclampsia, preeclampsia is very, very important, and watch for abnormal weight gain, and watch for infections, and watch for any sepsis, and growth scan for abdominal circumference, and antepartum fetal surveillance is started early in the 3rd trimester from 32 weeks onwards. Timing and mode of delivery. Uncomplicated cases of GDM with adequate glycemic control and those who are only on MNT, spontaneous labor can be allowed up to 40 weeks with adequate fetal surveillance. ACOG recommends diet-treated GDM induction at 39 weeks, insulin treated with adequate glycemic control at 38 weeks, insulin treated with the poor glycemic control between 37 to 38 weeks. Suppose if you plan for delivery before that, there is more chances for perinatal mortality. Coming to the mode of delivery, of course, vaginal delivery is the preferred one. Macrosomia not contraindicated up to fetal weight of 4.5, but not in our population. Suspected macrosomia, not a contraindication for trial of labor after cesarean section. And prophylactic cesarean section, if the estimated fetal weight is more than 4.5 kg, to avoid shoulder dystocia and other injury to the baby. During labor, as we all know, omit the morning dose of insulin. Sugar monitoring should be done hourly. Blood sugar values should be, maintained between 72 to 126 milligrams per deciliter. If the sugar values are equal to or less than 100, then a neutralizing drip, dextrose with insulin, can be started. Continuous fetal heart rate monitoring should be done with the use of CTG. Portograph is a must in all these patients. And perivaginal examination should be avoided. Unnecessary perivaginal examination should be avoided. And we have to expect shoulder dystocia, and we should be ready to tackle PPH. And of course, we should hand over the baby to the neonatologist to watch for hypoglycemia and other side effects of GDM. In the postpartum period, abruptly, the need for insulin reduces after delivery. Insulin stopped if the glucose values are within normal limits. Once the patient resumes full diet, by 3rd day after delivery, fasting and postprandial blood sugar monitoring should be done, and the subsequent therapy is decided in collaboration with a diabetologist. ACOG recommends fasting or 75 grams OGTT at 4 to 12 weeks postpartum for diagnosing type 2 diabetes mellitus. And coming to a word about recurrent GDM, the incidence is 48%. The risk factors for recurrent GDM are elevated maternal BMI and use of insulin after delivery and fetal macrosomia and weight gain between the pregnancies. So these mothers are more prone to get, recurrent GDM in the next subsequent pregnancies. So carry home message, level A, good and consistent scientific evidence shows universal screening for GDM of all pregnant mothers. Once diagnosed, counseling regarding nutrition and exercise done. When this fails, pharmacotherapy is initiated for the benefit of mother and baby with insulin. And insulin is the drug of choice for diabetes in pregnancy. The level B evidences, they show women who decline insulin therapy or unable to administer insulin or who cannot afford insulin, metformin is a reasonable alternative choice. These women should be counseled regarding limitation in safety data. And the level C consensus shows the MNT needs surveillance of blood glucose levels to confirm glycemic controls. And carbohydrate distributed diet, 3 meals and 3 snacks are recommended. And women with GDM should aim for 30 minutes moderate intensity aerobic exercise at least 5 times a week or 10 minutes walk after each meal. Well-controlled diabetes, Delivery recommended at 39 weeks. Postpartum screening at 12 weeks and repeat testing every 1 to 3 years is mandatory for these patients. Thank you for patient listening. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience caused by me.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really excellent. If any of the chairpersons are present here.
Parvada
Yes,
Madam,
madam.
my teacher is there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Jyoti, a word
ma'am,
about.
chairpersons are here. Dr. Sedgwick
Yes,
is also
yes,
here.
madam. Yes, madam. Jyoti, a word
Yes.
about prediction of GDM.
Yes,
As
madam.
early as 10 weeks of pregnancy, when we do a 75 grams DCT or even 2-hour postprandial blood sugar value, when it is more than 110 milligrams per cent, the chances for developing GDM is more.
More.
So that is, so by 10
So
weeks
screening
itself,
is mandatory at the time of booking, second trimester, third trimester, and also at 36 weeks.
so that we can predict. Likewise, at 8 weeks of pregnancy itself, when we do a 2-hour postprandial blood sugar, and when the value is more than 110 milligrams per cent, then we have 2 weeks of time to prevent the development of GDM subsequently. During these 2 weeks, between 8 weeks and 10 weeks, medical nutrition therapy and exercise we should advise, so that when we do 2-hour postprandial blood sugar at 10 weeks, it will be less than 110 milligrams per cent. So we can predict as well as prevent GDM if we do things earlier. That one point I want to add.
Yes, ma'am. You are absolutely
Jyoti.
right.
Dr. Jyoti,
Madam?
a word about postpartum contraception.
Yes, madam. Of course. Nowadays, the tailless IUCDs are available, or you can cut the copper T, the threads near the cervix. So, when a primipara, delivered in a para 1, live 1, and the IUCD is an ideal one. Nowadays, then many other methods are available, like our Andhara, which is safe in all these mothers also. So, it should be given, and in a multiparas. Once they have completed the, their family, they should be offered a permanent method of sterilization.
Any more
Baby
questions?
care in the GDM, LC, Jyoti.
Madam?
Baby care, newborn care.
Yeah, the baby should be handed over to the pediatrician. Suppose if the baby is with us.
Pediatrician will again give it to us.
Frequent sugar monitoring is very, very important in these babies. Otherwise, hypoglycemia can result in brain injury and sometimes death. So, frequent monitoring starting from the 6 hours of life, every 2 hours, once the sugar values are maintained, any value should be more than 70 milligram per deciliter, it should be maintained. And again, there is more chance for hyperbilirubinemia and hypocalcemia. So, the seizures may be due to hypoglycemia or hypocalcemia. These babies should be under the care of a neonatologist.
Thank you, Jyoti. Very nice. Very nice presentation.
Any more questions?
May we have some comments from the chairpersons, please?
A very nice, very presented, Jyoti. Everything
Thank
is
you, madam.
completely you have told, and also you have told about metformin. Because we don't have any long-term studies about metformin, the use of metformin is restricted. Only when insulin is not available or the patient cannot afford, then we can give metformin.
And about glyburide, in USA they are giving glyburide for GDM.
No, madam, it is not at all approved.
No,
it is contraindicated, madam.
Contraindicated.
It is contraindicated. Both metformin and glyburide is not at all approved by US FDA.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti, for your crisp and excellent presentation. Starting from the history, you have covered almost all the points. You have left no point. Thank you for this nice presentation. And I thank all the members of this Happy Learning course. My sincere thanks to Dr. MC Patel, Dr. Asha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. MC Patel, sir, I cannot see.
No, I am there.
Yeah, sir. Would you like to please sum up and say something at the end?
So, thanks to all. And you have already mentioned about your candidature, my candidature, and Bharti's candidature. So, no need to repeat. Yes.
So we all wish you best of luck, sir. Best wish. Definitely, your team will win.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. And thank you all respected faculty for giving your time and not being really disturbed by the calls. So thanks a lot. We meet again at some other forum. Tirthji? Tirth? Thank you, Corona Remedies, for being with us in this journey. I thank the guest of honor, the chief guest, the chairperson, speaker, Dr. Jyoti, for her patience, and all the panelists, also MC Patel, sir, Dr. Kalpana, Dr. Rekha, for being with us in this program and making it happen. I also thank the whole audience who's here, that for whom this program has been held and it has been made worthwhile. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night, ma'am. Good night, sir.
So we can conclude.
Hyderabad.
Yes. So Kalpana is
Tirth, you may end the program.
Kalpana is host.